Rev up your engines! Kevin Hammond says, how do you fix timing chain loud rattle on a 2010 Camry 4-cylinder? Goes away once the car's warmed up. Try this, and if it works, boy, you'll be thanking me. My friend Bernie in Albuquerque has an oil flush. You buy a can of it. You can just Google Bernie Albuquerque ATS oil flush. Put it in the engine. And you rev the engine up to like 1900 RPM with a fan in front of it for about 15, 20 minutes. Then you shut the car off, change the oil and filter. If you're lucky, the timing chain tensioner is sticking. And then the chain rattles because it's loose. But the cleaner can get the carbon off of the rod and then pop, it'll go right in, it won't make the noise. I fixed a lot of vehicles that way. Now, if it doesn't, you have to take it apart and physically replace the tensioner and maybe the chain too, which is a relatively expensive thing. A lot of guys will live with it. It goes away after a few seconds. Try the cleaner because, hey, if it cleans and gets the carbon off of it and then it doesn't rattle anymore, talk about a cheap fix. The bottle's like $30 or something. Fix your car for that and then change the oil. It's a cheap fix for sure. And I've seen it work. Joanne says, Scotty, I'm a big guy looking for a large SUV, 7 to 8 grand. What would you recommend? Thanks. I'd say get a sedan instead. You're not going to get diddly squat for 7 to 8 grand for a large SUV. It's going to be some worn out piece of crap. Everybody wants money for those things. On the other hand, you get a real nice sedan at that price. If you buy what everybody wants, the prices go up higher and higher and higher. So why not look for something else? But if you do have to get one, good luck. You're either going to get an ancient Toyota or an ancient Honda, or you're going to get a Ford or a Chevy or Dodge that's probably going to fall apart in front of your very eyes because they aren't all that well made. They don't last that long. And if you're looking at one for 7 or 8 grand, a large SUV when it was new one for 60 to 80,000, there isn't going to be much left when you get down to that price range. Sad but true. Austin Braden says, Scotty, what do you think of the Honda Odyssey? Do you recommend getting it? No. Honda Odyssey, they had engine problems with the cams. They have transmission problems. They've always had transmission problems with those things. They're fun to drive, and so a lot of people like them, but you get a Sienna, it will probably last 2 to 3 times as long. It's just a no-brainer to me. I see what breaks, and I wouldn't buy it. I learn from other people's mistakes. That's one of the biggest things you can learn in life. Forget learning from your own mistakes. That's expensive. Learn from other people's mistakes and don't make their mistake. And as I fix cars for a living, I see, oh, that was a mistake. I won't buy one of those. See you later, says Scotty. Do you think the new Mazda CX-90 is worth the buy? Well, I'd never spend that kind of money on a vehicle because I'm a cheapskate, so I would never buy one new. And it's new. It's got a new hybrid system. It's got new everything. It's got the new straight 6-cylinder engine. You know what I say? If you follow me, don't buy anything that's brand new. New design? What if there's a problem? You're stuck with the problem. And you bought it. It's yours now. Mechanics say the bees didn't build it, didn't buy it, didn't break it. I just fix them, right? So I would never buy something new like that until it's been out for a few years to see it. Do they have problems? Do they not have problems? I warn people about Toyota. I said they're going to have problems when they start putting those V6 twin turbos on those big Tundras. Guess what? They're having problems with them, right? I said don't buy the first year. Never, ever buy something when it's new. It's a big mistake. Unless you got more money than sense, then go ahead, throw it away. Todd Jones says, I got a 2017 Challenger. I went out, the headlights work. It wouldn't even go to accessory. I boosted and it started up. A few days ago, no problems, and it's charging 14 and a half. Any ideas? Get another battery. Unless somebody left the headlight on, left the headlight or the radio or something on. Get another battery, because it had to be dead for a reason, right? And obviously the charging system's working, 14 and a half volts, and it keeps going now. But when the battery goes dead, it can go dead and then start for a while and then go dead again. Just for your own safety, get it load tested. We mechanics can load test them in 5 minutes. You can go to any auto parts store, if you trust them, and have it load tested, see if the battery's bad or not. And it could easily be your battery's going out. If not, somebody left the headlights on or the radio or something was on that drained it. Parking lights, something. Moose says, Scotty, 2023 Toyota RAV4. What do you think? I rented one. We went to Death Valley. I always wanted to go to Death Valley. Hey, it was really cool too. So we rented a new one, and that thing, we were going 50 miles an hour in the park. It got 55 miles a gallon because it had an 8-speed automatic transmission. I was impressed. I really was impressed. My wife loved it, and she's very particular about vehicles. 8-speed transmissions, 4-cylinder engines, all that phenomenal gas mileage, and it ran like a clock. I like them. If I was going to buy something, I'd probably buy one, but I'm too cheap to buy a new one, so maybe if I need one, who knows? The Matrix and the Lexus might be going 20 years from now. It might be going until there's no gasoline left. I don't know. Logan Eagle says, Scott, I got a 19 Honda Accord 1.5 turbo. What do you think about the motor as well as the car? Well, the Honda Accords are excellent cars. Now, it's a smaller 4-cylinder engine, 1.5 instead of the usual 2-liter. So I'm not a fan of a smaller engine with a turbocharger, but Honda does make excellent engines. They have great engineers, and their stuff seems to hold up. Now, some of those had a problem with oil dilution, but they fixed that with the new GF6 oil and their redesign and everything. I'm just not a fan of a small turbocharged engine. I would rather have a 2-liter non-turbo engine than a 1.5-liter turbocharged. A 1.5-liter turbocharged one puts out more horsepower, yes, but I don't care because the 2-liter one goes plenty fast enough for driving around town. We're not race car drivers, are we? It's a Honda Accord. I would rather have a bigger engine in it, non-turbo, than a smaller engine turbo myself. Savage says, 2015 Altima versus 2015 Fusion. Any thoughts? Well, I'd definitely take the Fusion over the Altima. I'd rather get a Corolla or something myself, but the 2015 Nissan was making crap. That was 15 years after Renault took over and the company started sliding downhill. And they're still sliding, right? 2015 Fusion, the Fusions weren't bad vehicles. They weren't bad cars. Not great cars, but not horrible things like the Altimas. Taylor Reynolds says, PO299 code reads turbocharger, supercharger, underboost, 2013 Audi A4, 6-speed. All right. And yours is saying it's underboosted, so you have a problem with that system. Probably got a bad wastegate. You might have a mechanic check that out. We mechanics have bidirectional testing where we can check it, we can activate it, and then see if the thing isn't opening and closing, then we know it's bad and you got to replace it. That's probably what it is. Probably a broken wastegate. Big Jim Watkins says, Scotty, what do you think about the new Camrys being made in Kentucky? I was going to buy a 2023 TRD, but hesitated when I found they weren't made in Japan. All right, guess what? We had a Toyota Camry station wagon that was made in Kentucky, and that was 30 years ago. They've been making them there for a long time. No, they don't make the engines and trannies there. They come from Japan. There's nothing wrong with it. That wagon we had, we drove the heck out of it. Both kids learned how to drive on it. Then we sold it to a girl who joined the Peace Corps, drove away with it. We never saw it again. It might still be running to this very day. I don't know. But they've been making them in Kentucky for a long time. Astro. Scotty, what could cause a flickering driver's side headlight? Well, one, check the bulb. The bulbs have filaments. They start to wear. Change the bulb, right? If it still flickers, then either the connector that the bulb goes into is worn or bad wiring, especially bad ground wiring. If the ground wire is rusty or loose, then it'll flicker, right? Especially if you say it's only one side. If it's both sides, it's generally a weak alternator or a bad battery. But if it's just one, either the bulb or the wiring's corroded or the socket that it plugs into is all rusted, take it out and look at it. It's easy to check. Musa Korjango says, Scotty, 2023 Kia Sportage, what do you think about the engine? Not much. Kia makes crappy engines. They have always. I have yet to see them build a really strong engine. Their engines blow up. They have problems. I would not buy a Kia. Period. I wouldn't buy any Korean car. Toyota, Honda makes such better cars. Why would I buy a car that isn't as well made? Go to a Kia dealer. I've had more people go to them and say, man, that was the worst experience I ever had. They treat their customers like slime so they can make money off of them. Well, we got this engine warranty, but yours isn't covered under that warranty. You know, they never want to cover anything under a warranty, right? I would not buy a Korean car. End of story. Troy Brown says, what do you think about a 2012 Buick Enclave with 65,000 miles and a great Carfax? All right, an okay car. Not a great car, not a horrible car, right? It's a 12-year-old Buick with 65,000 miles. Very low mileage. If they can absolutely, positively prove that that's the real mileage, I mean a lot of proof too. Oil change receipts, yearly state inspections to make sure that, gee, it didn't at one time have 120,000 and then the next year the inspection only had 50. You know, that's fake, right? If it can absolutely be proven, it could be an okay car to drive around. Don't overpay. It has no resale value. It's worth nothing. It's only worth whatever anybody's going to pay for it. But it could be a decent knock-around car if a mechanic checks it out. But never buy a car like that without a mechanic check out. Hey, who knows? Could have been Hurricane Sandy. You don't know. You need a mechanic to check out any used car these days. Beverly Simmons said, have you ever worked on a 2015 Jeep Patriot? Any observations in terms of reliability? Mine is 100,000 miles. Yeah, I work on them. I'm not a fan. The Patriots are somewhat cheaper made Jeeps. You got 100,000 miles? I mean, baby it. Who knows? You know, a lot of people like the Jeeps, right? They all get horrible gas mileage. I'm too cheap, so I'm going to get something that gets better gas mileage. Our Matrix gets 37 miles a gallon on the highway. I don't want to waste my money on gasoline, right? If you like Jeeps, they can be okay. You want to change your oil every 5,000 miles, baby that transmission, and, you know, don't become Mr. Rock Crawler going over giant rocks and mashing holes and flipping them over. I'm not a big fan of them. Their quality isn't like it was ages ago when they made the Jeeps pretty rock solid. So if you never want to miss another one of my new car repair videos, remember to ring that bell.